Have you ever noticed that some people dislike you without ever giving you a reason? You didn't insult them. You didn't compete with them. You didn't do anything wrong. Yet somehow, the way you exist seems to irritate them. Your calm feels offensive. Your confidence feels loud. Even your silence feels threatening. And the most confusing part is this: you're just living your life.
Why is this happening?
If you've ever walked away
I
from
have
an
to do
interaction
something.
thinking,
This is too much.
what did I even do? This video is for you, because what's happening has very little to do with you and everything to do with what your presence triggers in other people. Let's talk about the first reason, and it's a big one. Some people hate what they see in you because you make choices without asking permission. Most people grow up learning to seek approval for everything. They ask before they move, before they change, before they decide. They want reassurance that they're doing the right thing. But then there's you. You think things through, you decide, and you move forward. You don't explain every step. You don't need a group vote to live your life. And that independence makes certain people deeply uncomfortable.
Really
Not
tough.
because you're wrong,
I know.
but because your
It hurts.
freedom reminds
We'll
them
get
of
through
how
it
trapped
together.
they feel.
Thanks.
Instead of questioning their own habits, they label you as careless, selfish, or unrealistic. In reality, you didn't break a rule. You just stopped letting others run your life. And not everyone can handle seeing that. The second reason is growth. And this one hurts the most, because it often comes from people who were once close to you. You and someone else started in the same place. Same struggles.
Something's not right.
Same
We need
complaints.
to do something.
Same
Are
dreams.
you with me?
But at some point, you changed. You started putting in effort. You learned. You improved. Your energy shifted. Meanwhile, they stayed exactly where they were. Now every time they see you, they're reminded of the distance between where they are and where they could have been. Your progress
No.
becomes a mirror
I can't believe
they
it.
didn't ask for.
Why me?
So instead of celebrating you, they pull away. They make comments. They act distant. They say you've changed, as if that's a bad thing. But growth always feels like betrayal to people who decided to stay the same. You didn't leave them behind. You just didn't stay stuck for their comfort. The third reason people hate you for no reason is honesty. Real honesty. Not cruelty, not disrespect, just truth. Most people spend their lives performing. They pretend
Maybe
to
things will get
agree.
better.
They laugh
Yes,
when
I feel
things
more
aren't
positive
funny.
now.
They
Time
act
to move
interested
forward.
when they're bored. They go along with conversations they don't believe in because it's easier than standing out. Then you show up and you don't play along. You don't fake reactions. You don't pretend to be impressed.
Wow, is that
You're
really
polite, but
Yeah,
you're
I was
real.
pretty proud of that
And that
pose.
authenticity
much.
disrupts the entire room. Suddenly, everyone else feels exposed, not because you attacked them, but because your honesty highlights their act. So instead of respecting you, they label you as awkward,
Hey, let's go for a
serious,
walk.
or
Yeah,
difficult.
sounds good.
But what they really mean is that your realness makes their pretending harder. Another reason is boundaries. People often like you most when you're
Hey there.
easily available.
Hi.
When you text
What's up?
first, when you show up no matter what, when you rearrange your life to fit theirs. That version of you feels predictable and controllable. But then something changes. You get busy. You focus on your goals. You stop chasing. You stop proving. And suddenly, people feel rejected. Not because you mistreated them, but because you stopped centering them. To someone who benefited from your constant availability, your boundaries feel like abandonment. They may accuse you of changing or not caring anymore, but the truth is simpler. You just stopped carrying the entire relationship by yourself. And people who enjoyed your lack of boundaries don't like the version of you that finally has some. The fifth reason is happiness. This one is uncomfortable to admit, but it's real. Some people have made peace with being miserable. They've accepted stress, chaos, and dissatisfaction as just life. Then you show up calm, content, grateful, at ease. And without meaning to, you challenge the story they tell themselves. Your peace suggests that another way of living exists. And if that's true, then they have to face the fact that they chose not to change. That realization hurts. So instead of dealing with
Hey,
it,
things
they
are looking up.
criticize you. They call your positivity fake. They mock your healing. They downplay your joy. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your happiness reminds them of what they avoid confronting. Here's the part you need to hear clearly. None of these reactions mean you're doing life incorrectly. In fact, they usually mean the opposite. When you live honestly, grow intentionally, set boundaries, and choose peace, you naturally disturb people who are running from themselves. That discomfort often shows up as dislike, judgment, or distance. And that's okay. You were never meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to be real. If everyone approves of you, you're probably shrinking. Living your truth will always upset people who are hiding from theirs. When you set boundaries, someone will call you selfish. When you grow, someone will say, "You've changed." When you're honest, someone will call you rude. These labels are not signs that you're wrong. They're signs that you stopped performing. Stop explaining your choices to people who don't want to understand. Stop apologizing for becoming healthier. Stop dimming yourself so others feel comfortable staying the same. The people who are meant to stay in your life won't need constant reassurance. They'll feel your intention without you having to prove it. You don't need to be liked. You need to be at peace with yourself. And when you are, it won't matter who misunderstands you. The right people will stay, the wrong ones will fade. And both outcomes are a blessing. Now tell me, out of these 5 reasons, which one hit you the hardest? Was it growth, boundaries, or happiness? Drop it in the comments. And if someone you know has been feeling guilty for simply being themselves, share this with them. Sometimes people don't need fixing. They just need permission to stop blaming themselves. Before you leave, I want you to sit with this for a second. If people misunderstand you, if they judge you, if they pull away when you start growing, maybe that's not a sign you're doing something wrong. Maybe it's proof that you're finally doing something right. You were never meant to shrink yourself to be digestible. You weren't born to be approved by everyone. You were born to live honestly, even if that makes some people uncomfortable. And the moment you stop apologizing for who you are, life gets quieter, clearer, and real. If this video made you feel seen, you're not alone. A lot of people carry guilt for simply being themselves, and they don't even realize it. So if this helped you, help someone else, share it with the person who's been questioning themselves lately. It might be the reminder they didn't know they needed. And don't go anywhere yet. In the next video, we're talking about what happens in the mind when people secretly resent you but pretend to support you, the subtle behaviors, the psychological signs, and how to protect your energy without becoming cold or bitter. Trust me, once you see it, you'll never unsee it. So, make sure you're subscribed, keep your notifications on, and stay here, because understanding people isn't about control, it's about freedom.